Just from what you were just saying, I'm just interested. To know, what's your take on the sort of the impression of the industry at the moment, the current state of the industry?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a lot of layoffs going on for a long time.
Hmm.
Um, I actually am not super up to date with how those numbers are looking. I think sort of a couple months into this year, it became a bit much to keep track of. But I know for a while it was, layoffs all over the place.
Yeah,
In
I
terms
don't think
of
that's changing at the moment. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
makes
sort of
sense.
still the case. Yeah, yeah.
In terms of like finding a job, I think in the 3 or 4 months that I was actively searching, I saw maybe three or four actual game development positions going,
Were you
at
just
least
looking in
relevant to
Australia?
me.
Were you just looking in Australia?
Yeah, I was. I
Okay.
was just looking in Australia.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I I'm seeing a lot of programming roles going,
Hmm.
but they don't seem to be really game development. A lot of it seems to be sort of AI startups looking for people with some programming knowledge.
Okay.
But in terms of designer positions, it's minimal. Um,
Yep.
and then, yeah, in terms of money, I mean, I'm not, I've only been looking for a few months, but it seems to be pretty sparse, especially from what I understand in terms of like the layoffs and that. It's a lot of investment money has disappeared. Um,
Yeah.
that's sort
So,
of my
so maybe
broader view.
I'll give you a little bit of overview as I've seen it. So, with the what happened with all the money that was pumped into the system in the with the lockdowns, there was a lot of money sort of out there sloshing around, looking for somewhere to go, something to invest in. And a lot of that money ended up going into different games kind of industry things. And you can see a lot of sort of the outcome of that. And unfortunately, a lot of it sort of went, I guess a lot of it was invested without a lot of discernment to a degree as well. So we're talking sort of 2020, where are we, 2025 now? 2022, 2023, I think, I think it dried up around 2023. So there's a bit of an artificial bubble there as well, which kind of didn't help a lot of things. And we're seeing the outcome of that in many ways now. And we've seen that money dry up, and a lot of studios closed down. There's other things happening there as well, of course. There are, we could talk about the state of the industry, the AAA industry, and what have you as well. But at the same time, I mean, it's important to keep an eye on the successes. So there's certainly things that are still being successful out there as well. And I have seen this before. So I saw back in 2009, 2010, there was a point where it was actually really hard to keep my students because the industry companies in Melbourne would come and poach them and say, "Hey, we've got a really good job for you, blah blah blah, or pay your money and everything." So that was probably 2007, 2006, 2007. 2008, the financial crisis hit. That all disappeared. All the major companies went bust in Melbourne. I think, well, not all, but certainly most of them. But what was interesting that came out of that is you had a real, because obviously there was a lot of indie developers hanging around. Then you had this real flourishing of games, smaller indie type games coming out, and that was really really interesting to see. So I guess I'm talking about the silver lining that there are opportunities in these sort of climates, but I guess you've got to sort of be there, and you've got to keep a positive attitude, and just keep working, keep plugging away.
Yeah, I mean, I do see that, and I do try to embody that as well. I think it's tough though when you look at things like the number of games released on Steam and all those sort of growth charts, where it's like every day there's more and more games being made and published, and so yeah, I don't know. I sometimes wonder if there's also like more competition. I mean, we're looking at it here for this, right? That's
I
gone
think
up
the answer's
tremendously.
yes, but looking at Chris, is it Pavlovsky? I think, or Chris. I always forget his last name, but How to Market a Game, Chris. He went through and he said basically, he said there were 18,000 games released in 2024, and he said basically all but sort of maybe 2,000 were just slock. We're just not. You wouldn't even bother. So I think it's important to keep that in mind as well. The fact, a lot of people are making games, um, and it's just because the technology is available and there's something they want to do, and they sort of put it out there, and they have no training, they have no necessarily sort of creative training or anything like that. And there's a lot of garbage out there. So I'm not sure that for someone who has talent and has training, I don't know that the competition is as bad as it might appear from that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess
Hmm.
maybe there's just more noise that you got to cut through. But yeah, like you said, if you have that dedication to it, and you'd go about it right, it is just a matter of cutting through it. It's not necessarily direct competition.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.